Hello, my name is Trevor Corey and I teach middle school social studies at Korea International School in Seoul, South Korea. I'd like to talk about authentic assessment and an example of an assessment my students recently completed. I'm a big podcast listener and one of my favorites is called the Cult of Pedagogy, hosted by Jennifer Gonzalez. In podcast 53, Jennifer interviews John Stevens and Matt Vaudry, who wrote a book called The Classroom Chef. The book's premise is simple. If we want to design lasting lessons and relevant content, we need to design instruction the way a chef orchestrates a good meal, from appetizer to dessert. And like all good chefs, we only get good if we take risks, experiment, and are willing to fail. Let's focus on the dessert, or the assessment. Even in a more project-based performance-type assessment, most teachers give every student the same assessment. But how does this measure student achievement and creativity? How can you assess creativity when you leave no room for it in the instructions? If we give students an assignment, it has to be a Google presentation, and each presentation has to have 12 slides, and on every slide there has to be a picture and 3 bullet points. It has 2 problems. First, it doesn't necessarily measure standard mastery. The second one is, those students who are not very good at making presentations are automatically at a disadvantage. So they had an idea. Let the students choose their own assessment. Show me that you understand these concepts in your own way. So I went off and I created an assessment where students had to prove to me they understood 4 different concepts. And off they went. Students wrote essays, they made podcasts, they created videos, they wrote fictional stories, they did cooking shows, they did service projects, they had plays. The world was theirs and they got to choose. The first advantage was student choice. Students got to work in whatever medium or context suited their interests and talents, while showing me that they understood these 4 concepts. The second advantage was differentiation. By allowing students to choose their own assessment, I'm not comparing students to each other now. I'm grading that student on their individual ability. The third advantage was, it was really fun to grade. Every assessment was totally different than the other, and students got to show their mastery in their own way. After grading these assessments, I was kicking myself for not thinking of this before. And as Matt Vaudry said, the real value of this assessment was that students got to demonstrate their knowledge in a way that was comfortable and effective for them.